Hey everybody, Meteorologist Ethan Emery here. Apologies for the delay. We were trying to get some stuff set up on our YouTube channel and ran into a couple of hiccups. We're still trying to figure out all the YouTube stuff, and fortunately I'm happy to say that we are live everywhere, including on YouTube, and we're going to try to eventually install the option to look at comments and questions on YouTube as well. But for right now, if you have any questions or comments, you can join us on our Facebook page. It's Fox 19 Facebook page, as well as my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. Now, today's been beautiful out there, of course, and we're going to dive into the forecast as to when things will change, get warmer, get more humid, and also storm chances in addition to the latest track on Tropical Storm Beryl, which could bring in some impacts for us. And we'll have more on that here in just a moment. But as always, I've promised 19atSIX. We try to do this before 6:05. It's 6:03 now, so we'll begin to move this pretty quickly. Give you the forecast for tonight, tomorrow, and the 7-day forecast. That way, if those of you have plans, we make this pretty quick for those of you to resume your plans. If you want to stick around, we'll dive into more of this forecast as well as the latest on Beryl. So tonight, looking at temperatures dipping down to around 63 degrees. So kind of a cooler night in store. We go into the day on your Sunday, a bit warmer. The humidity, though, not much of an impact. In fact, it'll be feeling kind of nice. Temperatures, though, on the warmer side, so a great pool day in store for your Sunday. High up to 89 degrees, and again, mostly sunny conditions. Now, the 7-day forecast, I need to tweak a couple of things. I've been looking at some model data, just haven't had the chance to do a deep dive into it quite yet, but we are looking at some rain chances. I will say Tuesday has gone down quite a bit, but Wednesday and Thursday, chances of rain have increased, and partially that due to Tropical Storm Beryl. But temperatures will be mainly in the 80s over the next 7 days, the exception being Monday, pretty hot at 92 degrees, though heat index values don't look to be a significant issue with that. But overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 60s and low 70s, along with those temperatures mainly in the 80s. So we got that knocked out. It's not even 6:05 yet, so promise has been kept. I'll pull up the 7-day forecast for you here for a moment. That way I can make sure all of our ducks in a row on Facebook, and we've got some viewers there. No comments or questions just yet on our Facebook page. I do not see any questions or comments on our YouTube channel, although it's not really active. I just want to see if we got some folks tuning in there yet or not. And I'll look at my Facebook page as well to see any questions or comments there. Now again, we are already diving into that, the latest of Tropical Storm Beryl, which that'll be coming up here momentarily. So I don't have any comments or questions on my Facebook page. The Fox 19 Facebook page also does not have any comments or questions. So we will continue with our broadcast here as regularly scheduled. And along with that, the stuff I want to talk about before we get into Beryl and next week's rain. So we want to begin with today. Of course, today has been pretty nice. We've got some of those nice fair weather cumulus clouds. Temperatures at 84 degrees right now. A little bit of a breeze, but nothing too much of concern. But you probably noticed outside today, low humidity. I mean, heck, I was out there enjoying with the windows down in my Subaru and coming into town feeling great here this afternoon. Though I did admittedly have the AC on when I first got in the car because it was a little hot inside. But once the windows were down, the hot air got out of the car, it did feel much better. Now, I know yesterday evening it was a little bit busy with Steve and I going over the going over the rain with the Reds, but once that rain passed, the game resumed. Unfortunately, the Reds didn't pull off a win, but it was a close game, and at least the delay was minimal, only about 25 minutes or so. But yesterday, or I should say today, today we had a high temperature, 85 degrees, so near normal for this time of the year. It wasn't anything cold or anything like that. Morning low was 64, so right on par with what our forecast was. Of course, no rain today. I don't see any rain coming in until what looks like Tuesday night into Wednesday now at this point, although the 7-day still reflects that chance of rain on Tuesday. Again, I want to tweak a few things after this broadcast and give you that update on fox19.com/weather. Again, this morning, not bad. We had those temperatures in the low to mid 60s, and today we had those nice highs in the mid 80s, still in those mid 80s. Again, 85 was the high at CVG. It's 84 right now. And the dew points, this has been what's been really nice. Those dew points are in the low 60s. Now, you might notice a little bit of humidity, but compared to the last several days, this is an improvement. And come July and August, dew points in the low 60s is favorable Because around here, dew points can usually be in the upper 60s and the low 70s at that. And the heat index values, not much of that. And the heat index or values, again, not much, but the wind speeds are at around 5 to 15 miles per hour. And the wind gusts at about 20. Other than that, though, we're not looking at anything major with that. Now, going into tonight, we are looking at maybe some areas of patchy fog in some river valleys. Maybe. Now, I think this is going to be kind of limited. I'm not looking at this to be anything too dense, but there will be some patchy fog in those river valleys. We got the clearing skies, temperatures falling down close to the dew points, meaning that saturation will be near 100% at the surface. So there could be some patchy fog in around the Ohio River, the Brush Creek area, Licking River, and maybe over towards the East Fork of the Little Miami River, according to this particular model. Even the Little Miami River, as it runs through the Lunken Airport, that's kind of notorious for some patchy fog. So can't rule that out, but we're not looking at this to be anything substantial in that regard. Again, temperatures tonight will dip down into the lower 60s. Again, mostly clear conditions, so we're not talking about any kind of cloud cover. So if you got fireworks planned tonight, you're looking at excellent conditions for that. And the best night, I would say, to do that, considering how the last few days and evenings and nighttime have seen some showers in the area. But tonight, temperatures are down around 63. For Sunday, 89. Looking at a lot of sunshine, really pleasant conditions. And if you're traveling tomorrow, maybe you're going to some family or friends to wrap up the 4th of July weekend and looking a little bit hotter down towards Kentucky. Lexington at 91. Charleston, West Virginia, 90 with partly cloudy skies. And Indianapolis, Columbus, both in those mid to upper 80s. 85 in Chicago, 81 in Cleveland, the mid 90s down towards Nashville, and also into St. Louis. So now what I'm going to do is talk about the humidity really quick, and then we'll get started on discussing Beryl and the impact it's going to have for folks in Texas, as well as further up along the Mississippi River Valley into the Ohio Valley. That's all coming up here in a moment. But let's first discuss the muggy meter, because it's going to bring impacts for the humidity too, obviously, with the rain chances. So, yeah, some humidity. Dew points in the 60s. It's not what I would say unbearable, but it's manageable. Manageable humidity for the next few days, all the way until Tuesday now at this point, will things be okay. I'm not saying it's completely comfortable, but relatively speaking, compared to the last couple of days, I would call it comfortable. But we go into Tuesday night into Wednesday, we've got that spike of very muggy air, and that muggy air will persist into Thursday, into the end of the week ahead. So, again, now what we're going to do is take a pause and look at some of the comments or questions we have on our Facebook page, look at the forecast model data, analyze that track of Beryl, talk about those impacts, and then look at more questions and comments if we have those on our Facebook page. So we'll take a look at this camera here and dive in. Here we go. Cheyenne asks, any tornado possible next week? I do not foresee that. Nothing has, I need to look at more of the data to analyze further in detail, but I have not seen any glaring concerns or issues of not only that, but not even the threat of severe weather this week. There's just not a lot of forcing. And typically in these scenarios, when you have a remnant hurricane move through, the only issue is really the heavy rain aspect with it, and a lot of cloud cover too. So Cheyenne, the good news is we're not looking at severe threats, at least this upcoming week, from what I've been seeing, and nothing has been, again, of a glaring issue. It's just going to be the heavy rain that's going to be the primary threat with any of those showers that move through. Aaron says, thank you. You're absolutely welcome. Cheyenne says, I guess I have to call off work Wednesday and Thursday. I can't take the bus in that weather. So hopefully wherever you are, there's a bus canopy or some kind of canopy to where you can try to avoid that, because obviously you don't want to have to miss work for rain events. But maybe rain boots, umbrella, if there's any way you can get those kind of items to make sure that you can at least go to work if that's possible, Cheyenne. So hopefully you find a way to not have to avoid that, because don't want to see weather impacting you in that way. You got to, make money and able to afford rent or mortgage or whatever it is you have to deal with. But hopefully you have a way to work around that. Susan answered their own question. Yeah, we are looking at that impact of the tropical system, the remnants of it. We're not looking at a hurricane hitting Ohio. It's the remnants of it, rest assured. Becky says, beautiful day. And I did see a comment earlier today on 19 at 11 with meteorologist Ashley Smith. So if you've got plans in the afternoon and evenings at 6 p.m., like right now, and you want to get a head start on that forecast, meteorologist Ashley Smith, an excellent meteorologist, love working with her, and a great asset to here at Fox 19. There was a couple comments asking about if this is going to be a Hurricane Ike scenario. If you aren't familiar with this, I remember growing up around here as 2008. The remnants of Hurricane Ike moved up into the Ohio Valley, even moved up towards Indiana and Illinois, and brought hurricane-force winds in this region. Now, that was a very specific scenario, and Chief Meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer had a really good explanation on that on his website. I forget the name of the website, but I remember using that for one of my projects when I was in college. But really fascinating scenario with that. That was very specific. I do not foresee that here. What we're going to be seeing come Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to be rain, looking at moderate rain here into the area. Darren said, sorry, Ethan, did I miss a lot? No, what we do on 19atSIX is I give a really brief tonight, tomorrow, and 7-day within the first few minutes, and then we begin and kind of roll through it on a kind of a time scale. So I focus on now, what's coming up, and then go extended and kind of go into the thick of the forecast. But yeah, I know the timing can be a little weird. So Darren, if you have pen and paper, I'll give you the timeline of when we do all of our live weather shows on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere else you stream. So during the week, we have 19 at noon, Monday through Friday. It's either meteorologists Ashley Smith or Catherine Bodak or myself. If you can't make 19 at noon happen, don't worry. Steve Horstmeyer has 7:15. That's where we got the 15 out of this. So weeknights at 7:15, it's Steve Horstmeyer who covers those. And then on weekends, it's meteorologist Ashley Smith at 11 a.m., both Saturday and Sunday. And then I have 6 p.m. sharp, although today I was at 6:01. That's my fault. But 6 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays. So hopefully that clears things up for you, that we can plan things out. Okay, so Diane, going to be a beautiful evening. Get out and enjoy. Yeah, that's why I'm wearing the rolled up the sleeves and didn't put on a tie or jacket. I was outside earlier. It was beautiful. Unfortunately, in order to do our job, you've got to be inside on a computer, although I can maybe find a way to get the laptop and sit out on the outside of the studio, maybe. Cheyenne, so will there be flooding? There's a potential for flooding, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Molly says, hello, Ethan. I was going to ask about this hurricane, if it'll be like Ike. No, I don't suspect it to be like Ike. Like I was saying earlier, Ike was a very specific, everything had to work just right to cause what had happened, and in this case, it does not look to be that kind of scenario. Okay, I think I caught up with all the comments there. Take a look at comments on my Facebook page real quick. I don't have another way of looking at comments on my Facebook page on this computer just like here, so I'll be on my phone. So I'm not ignoring folks. I'm just checking my comments on my Facebook page. I got 2 comments. Brenda says, hi, Ethan. Hope you have a great weekend. You as well, Brenda. Patrick Garman, my good buddy out from Hillsborough, says, happy 4th weekend, Ethan. Got a chance to make it to the Festival of the Bells. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to. So yesterday I got to fill in, as well as Thursday, for meteorologist Catherine Bodak, as she's filling in for Frank Marzullo. And get the opportunity to do weather on the air is really nice to have during the week. And so I had to do that. And then yesterday I had to stay late to help Steve Horstmeyer with forecasting with the Reds and timing out that rain that was moving through. It was a doozy. That cell, it was relentless in terms of not falling apart fully, but it did have enough to cause a slight rain delay, and that's what we were working with the Reds. But made that possible. And then, of course, today I have to work this afternoon and evening, so I wasn't able to make the Festival of the Bells this year. Next year, I'll be able to do that. Maybe the county fair, I might be able to stop on by there and support my friends over in Highland County. I need to make it to more fairs this year. I didn't get a chance to do that last year. But maybe this year I'll be able to go to a few fairs. Although I did go to the Hamilton County Fair, got to cover that doing my reporting And that was a lot of fun, seeing all those cool things there over in Carthage. Okay, so we're caught up on the comments and questions. So now we'll be able to move forward here with this forecast and also discuss more in detail Beryl. So again, this weekend's fine. Going into Monday, actually, things are relatively fine. Monday, we have those increasing temperatures in the low 90s, a little bit more humidity in the afternoon. Tuesday, at this point, does look drier. In fact, the pause point just jumped on me. So Tuesday, we're dry all day long. We're going to Tuesday night, the rain begins to move in. Here are the remnants of Beryl. Notice all of this yellow, orange, and red bringing in a lot of rain. And notice the sharp cutoff too. So this is going to be one of those scenarios where we're going to have to keep an eye on this outer band, because there's going to be a sharp cutoff between areas that are much drier versus more wet. And as typically remnants of tropical systems moves into this region, there usually is a sharp cutoff with where that rain is. So something we'll be monitoring, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But on this particular model, you can see it makes its way through and cuts right into the tri-state. And this particular model takes it really far north as we go forward in time into Wednesday and Thursday. And it's going to bring in, it looks like, some showers and storms on Thursday too. And then also going into Friday, not part of the tropical system, but we are looking at kind of a wave of energy moving through Friday into next weekend. So with that being said, that is one forecast model of what we could see with rain, and we'll show you rainfall amounts that one model has here in a moment. But I want to focus on the track of Beryl and what's going to be impacting here sooner for folks over towards Texas. So if you've got family or friends, I know, the tri-state, there's a folks that have family, friends, connections all over the country. People often ask about Florida or Arizona or folks in Michigan or over towards New York. In this case, Texas. It's going to be impacting folks along the Gulf Coast, pretty much from Louisiana all the way down towards the Rio Grande, where you recall where the river meets the Gulf. But right now, the latest is it currently has winds at 60 miles per hour, moving to the north and west kind of quickly at 13 miles per hour, and pressure is going to continue to drop, indicating it's strengthening. So when pressure gets lower, that's a strengthening system. We talk about low pressure systems. The deeper the low, or the lower the pressure, the stronger the storm. And in this case, it is going to get stronger as it's going to develop to a Category 1. Could get very close to a Category 2, but the latest from the National Hurricane Center keeps it at a hurricane Category 1 as it makes landfall along the coast of Texas. And this cone, we call this the cone of uncertainty. So don't think of the hurricane as it gets close to landfall hitting exactly here. That's just the greatest likelihood. So there's a range here. And the further out of time you go, the cone gets wider, because that's the greater uncertainty that comes with it. Hurricane forecasting is very tricky. I got to learn some about that when I was interning at our sister station in Charleston, South Carolina. But anyway, that's a tangent. Let's focus on this. The track takes it up to the north and west, and then pivots further north, and it could bring in a lot of heavy rain for folks over towards the Houston area, Galveston, down towards Corpus Christi. And we go forward in time here, going into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can see that low pressure system takes its way over towards Arkansas, going over towards the Ohio, Missouri, and Mississippi River kind of cluster here into western Kentucky, southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois. And that trajectory does take it by Thursday afternoon, the center of it, close to the tri-state Thursday evening. So that is the latest track. And here's what it looks like on satellite. So this is a satellite view. When you see the darker grays, the purples, the pinks showing up, the dark red, that is what we call colder cloud tops. And colder cloud tops are indicating you got a stronger storm. And obviously there's a strengthening. So this is the satellite image. It's making its way following that Hurricane Center's forecast track. And it's going to strengthen because of those water temperatures. These are the latest buoy readings in the Gulf of Mexico. So you got bath water, essentially. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. That's good for a storm to strengthen in that regard. And again, it's going to be impacting folks along the coast of Texas with storm surge up to 6 feet. Now this is showing mainly yellow, indicating greater than 3 feet. There's a couple of spots, it's kind of hard to see on this monitor, but there's a couple of spots where it does show a little bit of orange, so indicating that potential for maybe storm surge at around 6 feet. So that's something that's going to be of concern for those folks along the Gulf of Texas. So we've got that, and what I want to show next is the rainfall forecast model from what meteorologist Ashley Smith showed earlier this morning. I want to see if there's an update on that. So like I said, I'm playing some catch up here, trying to look at some data and analyze that. So once this loads, I'll be able to pull up that rainfall. But I know a lot of folks are asking about the impacts of this. For us, it's not going to be wind. We're looking at just rain out of this, and there could be some heavy rainfall. But as I mentioned, there is a little bit of uncertainty as to how much, because in these scenarios, there's a sharp gradient between drier air and more moist tropical air. In this scenario, it looks like we are going to be seeing more of that rain over top of us. So let me go ahead and pull up that here in a moment. It's just a matter of finding it. That's the tricky part of all of this. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. While I'm looking for it, if you have any questions or comments, you can ask those, and I will check those out once I get this pulled up. And it's not showing up there. Hopefully y'all had a good weekend so far. So like I said, for me, I took it easy this morning. I just relaxed and watched some YouTube videos and just took it easy. Tomorrow I'll get some more work done. I give myself one day a week where I just kind of go in brain rot mode. Just don't do a whole lot and just entertain myself and take it easy. Because you got to give yourself those days. If you don't, then you can get overwhelmed, and we don't want to be overwhelmed. Okay, here we go. This is what meteorologist Ashley Smith made. Obviously, be a little bit different than what she showed because model data has come in compared to what she showed earlier. So, next few days, nothing. We go into Tuesday into Wednesday, not a lot of rain, but this model is showing us Wednesday into Thursday that we are looking at. Okay, this is a little bit different than what Ashley was showing earlier. So notice, as I mentioned, that sharp cutoff. Right here, it kind of has some of that cutoff. So perhaps some locations could not see a lot out of this, maybe a half an inch, whereas other locations could see more than an inch of rain. Now, the location of where that heaviest of rain is still a little uncertain. It's going to depend on that track of where a barrel goes. As I mentioned, that track has a wider degree of uncertainty depending on how it interacts with the high and low pressure systems that are be over the country, and the jet stream, and all these other factors that come in with meteorology. But as it stands right now, I actually agree with this, because in my experience working in this area and living in this area, seeing how remnant tropical systems interact, usually your heavier amounts of rain are areas to the south and southeast, and lighter amounts are usually further north and northwest. So in this scenario, I tend to agree with this for the time being. Whereas earlier, Ashley was showing you a little bit higher amounts. It's starting to kind of fall back to more reality. But there could be more than an inch of rain for areas, especially into northern Kentucky and to our southeastern counties. That looks to be what the latest forecast is. And I like, again, model data, and I right now agree with each other on that regard. But here is kind of a regional view of the future rainfall. Now, I don't put up the numbers with this because there's a wide degree of those numbers. So areas that are in the blue are greater than an inch. Areas in purple are greater than 2 inches. And areas in yellow, I believe, are greater than a foot of rain, if I remember correctly. So as you can see here, we go all the way into Thursday and Friday. And I'm going to go in and move the map here. But you can see areas towards Dallas. There we go. Areas towards the Dallas metro area could see a lot of very heavy rainfall. Also towards the Houston area, down towards Galveston, looking at some very heavy rainfall out of this. And then we go ahead and I'll move the camera up. Hold on, let me turn this off. Delete. So let's move the camera up here. And again, I don't have the numbers on here. But this particular model Hold on. There we go. For some reason. Okay, this particular model is kind of doing the exact opposite of what I just said. Now, I don't fully buy this yet, because for a remnant tropical system to maintain that much moisture all the way up to the Great Lakes, it's a little challenging for it to do that, because oftentimes they usually curl their way over towards the Appalachian Mountain region. So this kind of goes to show you there's still that uncertainty. So this model has the heavier rain to our northwestern counties. The other model, which I agree with, has it further south and east, the heavier rain. So that's something we have to monitor. And of course, as we get closer, this will change. It's going to change. That's just the science of forecasting. And I know some folks hate to hear that, but that is the truth, and how this all plays out. So again, we're looking at, I'm going to get that map up again. So this is what I agree with. I agree with the heavier rain to our south and our southeastern counties, lighter amounts further north. Now that being said, that area of heavier rain could pivot further north. So right now, it looks like anywhere from a half an inch to more than 2 inches of rain are on the table for us between Wednesday and Friday because of the remnants, or I should say up to Friday morning with the remnants of Beryl as it moves in. So there's uncertainty right now, but right now it looks like the heaviest of rain could be into our southern and southeastern counties. So take a pause real quick and look at some of those comments and questions, and then we'll dive into the 7-day forecast and then look at temperature trends of what to expect beyond the 7-day forecast. Here we go. We got more comments. Molly says, the sky last night was very cool. I missed that rainbow. Yeah, we had some photos come in. I haven't had a chance to upload those yet. We had some rainbows yesterday, of course, with that rain moving through, the sun peeking through and giving you the refraction of the sunlight, giving you beautiful colors of the visible spectrum. So sorry to say that you missed the rainbow, but hopefully you get to see some photos of it on social media. Nick asks, why has the majority of the heavy rain and thunderstorms this year gone to Wisconsin and northern Michigan? Is it because of the jet stream, or is it because of the lack of La Nina? It's a good question. So thanks for asking that, Nick. Let me go ahead and switch the monitor back here. And what I'm going to do is pull up this map, and I'm not using the numbers. I'm using this as kind of an explanation. So remember a few weeks ago we were under that heat dome, which is a real thing, by the way. Heat dome is a legitimate scientific thing of that high pressure. It sat right over us and gave us that really hot air in this region. Well, oftentimes high pressure storms have a harder time developing and maintaining themselves in high pressure. Now they'll pop up if you have enough humidity, because you get humidity, you get heat, it's going to pop up some storms. But there's not a lot of forcing with it. There's no strong, intense storms in those scenarios. So where will the intense storms go? Where there's lower pressure. And in the scenario we've been running into this mid-late spring into summer, as the ridge of high pressure has been kind of over us in this regard here, giving us the humidity, giving us those temperatures in the upper 80s and 90s persistently here over the last few weeks. I mean, we had that slew of first alert weather days with those heat advisories. It was because of that heat dome. I say all that because that ridge was ending up here. That heat dome ended up in northern Ohio, Cleveland, over towards Michigan. And oftentimes, again, lower pressure is away from the high pressure. Makes sense, right? And what the pattern has been recently are storms that are sort of riding the ridge riders, what we call them. And what they were doing is they were forming on the lee side of the Rockies over towards where I used to work at in Rapid City. And a pattern like this, I got to experience it. It could bring a lot of storms for folks over towards the Black Hills in western South Dakota. And those storms would try to come down like they usually do, but it couldn't because that ridge. So they'd hit areas like Omaha and Iowa, but then go up towards Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Great Lakes region, and then go up towards the northeast. So that's the explanation as to why it's been a little more active for those folks towards the Great Lakes region. And La Nina, El Nino, it doesn't, so how do I word this? When it comes to summertime and spring, there's not as much of a correlation between El Nino and La Nina years. Now, the correlation as to why we saw storms in the spring, that played a part because of the El Nino winter, because we had a lot more thermal energy to work with. There wasn't as much snowpack. The temperatures got warmer quicker, partially and due to the fact that we had El Nino. And that allowed for storms to develop easier, as opposed to if the spring was a little bit cooler, because if we had a snowpack, it would not allow storms to be triggered up as easily. So the storms up in Lake Michigan and Lake Erie, Lake Huron, Ontario, Superior, all that, and the high plains, that wasn't because of El Nino or La Nina, it was because of that ridge of high pressure that's set up. So you could look into the data. Could there be a little bit of a correlation between El Nino, La Nina, as well as the ridge of high pressure? Sure, but it's not definitive. So I don't want to say that that's the reason. The reason for these storms is because of that ridge of high pressure, and they had to ride along it. They couldn't get into the high pressure, if you will. But we saw showers and storms, obviously, in some of those days, and that's just because they were garden variety. They didn't have a lot of energy with them, and you want the energy of storms, and those areas of energy are closer towards lower pressure. So that's hopefully a good enough explanation for you, Nick. Okay. Mandy asks, how is the upcoming weather supposed to be? So I'll pull up that 7-day forecast behind. That way you can see that behind me. As the graphic wants to load. A lot of data getting pulled in, this time of night especially. So here's the 7-day forecast behind me. We're dry today through, I think, Tuesday now. we've been saying storm chances on Tuesday. That chance has gone down significantly in the last 24 hours. This is a saying that Chief Meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer tells me. The trend is your friend until it isn't. In this case, the trend has continued to show drier air Tuesday, so we're going to go ahead and change that forecast to reflect that trend. Of course, if the trend goes back to rain, we'll have to add that in, but I'm confident enough to say Tuesday is going to be a little bit drier now. Still pretty warm. In fact, I think Tuesday temperatures should probably go up into maybe the mid to upper 80s. But Monday definitely looks to be the hottest day at around 92 degrees. You can't see it because I'm blocking it. There you go. You can see for yourself. And then rain on Wednesday and Thursday does look probable because of the remnants of Beryl. Friday does have an isolated chance. And again, that's going to be not because of Beryl, but because of a wave of energy moving behind the remnants of Beryl. But there is that chance nonetheless, lingering into perhaps Saturday too. But temperatures relatively staying warm. We are looking at more humidity going into the middle of next week and staying around with us, but we're not looking at any kind of major concerns with any kind of heat advisory criteria situations. We're not looking at any big cool down, nothing like that. Mandy asks anything severe. I mentioned this at the top of the 19atSIX, but I'll say it again because it goes, it's important to say. But I do not suspect severe weather, not in the 7-day forecast, frankly, because there's not a lot of forcing to work with. And any forcing we do have, it's the remnants of Beryl. And in these situations, it's just going to be heavy rain. It's not going to be anything of damaging winds, hail, tornadoes, nothing of that nature. So Wednesday and Thursday, heavy rain is going to be our main concern. And we do have actually a slight risk of excessive rainfall. And I'll go ahead and update that graphic right now. So you'll be able to watch me work, work as fast as I can to get this pulled up for you. So I believe it's day 5. So this will be Wednesday's excessive rainfall outlook, meaning the potential for flash flooding. So let me turn off the box here. Let me go ahead and turn on the day. So this will be day 5. There you go. So this is day 5, meaning the Wednesday. So this is Wednesday's excessive rainfall outlook, meaning the odds of seeing flash flooding. And again, this actually goes in line kind of what I was saying. Usually your heaviest rain in a tropical remnant system is going to be to the south. Now they only go out to 5 days. So Thursday, this may go over here. So you have to keep an eye on that. But we are looking at the chance for some maybe heavier rain into northern Kentucky that could lead to localized flooding. So Wednesday and Thursday, keeping an eye on that with regards to the threat of, again, excessive rainfall, as they call it, meaning the potential for flash flooding. So that's something we'll have to monitor. But again, it looks like our southern counties right now in my forecast are going to be the areas most likely to see that threat for moderate to heavy rain. The rest of the 7-day forecast, though, looking dry for your Friday and Saturday, mid to upper 80s. There's a chance of showers and storms as a area of energy moves through. I want to use technical terms, but I don't want to complicate things. But that could bring in the chance for a few showers and storms, but more dry than wet both of those days. Look at my Facebook to see if there's any questions or comments there. And if we don't see those, then we'll go ahead and begin to wrap things up. So let's go ahead and take a look there real quick. 5 comments on my Facebook page. That's nice. Debbie says, nice day today. Yeah, it's been really nice. Low humidity, temperatures in the low to mid 80s. Great pool day, perhaps. Carol says, thanks, Ethan. You're welcome. Susan asks, did I get your text? I did not get your text. I didn't. So I don't know what number you texted, or if you, I don't know how you communicated with me, Susan, but I have not received anything from you. So that's somebody from Hillsborough. So hopefully you can message me on Facebook if you need to, but I have not received any text or messages from you, Susan. That's the only comment I got, or only comments I have on my Facebook page. We'll go ahead and take a look at the Fox 19 Facebook page. Mandy says, thank you for always answering my questions thoroughly. Of course. I'm a person who pays attention to details. Growing up, when I watched TV weather, living out in Highland County, Steve Horstmeyer always gave, the little areas the same amount of attention as he would Cincinnati, and I try to do the same thing, not only for communities but also here on Facebook for anybody who asks questions. And of course, I always try to do that because you all are respecting me. I want to respect back to you, and so thank you. So thank you for thanking me, but also thank you for tuning in and asking questions. I always love to answer questions however I can, and I'm also honest. Sometimes I don't know, and I'm going to tell you that. I'm not going to give you anything fake. So as promised, we're going to begin to wrap things up soon, but I did talk about the beyond the 7-day forecast. I don't have any specific numbers. Again, I need to go through all the data and make those changes I want to make first, but this is from the Climate Prediction Center. This is the next 2 weeks. Temperature outlook, they use probability. And so, yeah, this is what I expected. Above normal temperatures can be expected. So what that means, average highs this time of the year are usually in the mid 80s, mid to upper 80s. So we are looking at the Ohio Valley likely going through the middle of July and even to the beginning of the latter half of the month, remaining to be in the upper 80s and low 90s with that. In addition, with rainfall, this is showing a little bit of a light green, so maybe just above normal, and that's just because going into next week, there is the potential to see a few rounds of your isolated showers and storms. Now, that being said, we are looking at the potential of seeing more dry conditions than not, so that could lead to some concerns or issues when it comes to drought concerns. We still have a moderate drought over the tri-state, although the rain the last couple of days have probably helped a little bit in that regard, but we need more days of rain than not in this region. And this is the weeks 3 to 4. So this goes all the way through the end of the month of July. Temperatures look to be above normal here in the tri-state. And unfortunately, when it comes to the rainfall outlook for the next 3 to 4 weeks, it does not look as promising as you'd like to see. but a little encouraging with some of that light green. But in order to overcome our drought scenarios, we need to see a little bit more green on maps like this to overcome that. But we do have some rain in the forecast. Granted, it'll be moderate to heavy, it looks like, for Wednesday and Thursday, so something we'll keep in mind, keep on guard with the remnants of Beryl as it moves through. But the next few days look to be dry, so the rest of your 4th of July weekend plans and activities should go off without any issues weather-wise. Sunday got a high of 89 and sunshine, Monday 92, and then looking at the storm chances increasing. I think Tuesday looks to be drying out at this point. Wednesday and Thursday, days of, bearing, monitoring and such. And then Friday and Saturday, we do look to be a little bit drier, though there are going to be some chances of some activity here into the area. So I believe we've got the comments and questions answered. I checked the Fox 19 Facebook page. I'll do one last check on my Facebook page to see any other updates there. Nope, no updates there. So at that point, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. So again, thank you all so much for joining us on this Saturday edition of 19 at 6. Of course, if you look at this Facebook post later and you see, hey, I missed it, don't worry. We got you at 10 o'clock tonight, or at least after the baseball game. Give you an updated forecast, go a little bit more in depth with Beryl and the latest on Beryl. And I'll be able to show you some more maps and tricks when it comes to the rainfall forecast over us here in the Fox 19 Now viewing area. And then, of course, we will also look at that updated 7-day forecast, too, here into the Tri-State. But don't worry, if you can't make it tonight, maybe you're watching fireworks tonight, tomorrow we got you covered as well. Meteorologist Ashley Smith will be in from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Got your 11 a.m. weather show here on Facebook and wherever else you stream. And then, of course, I got you covered on 19 at 6 on Sunday evening as well. And then, of course, the 10 o'clock newscast on Sunday. So, mouthful there, but I just want to let you know that we always got you covered here on Fox 19 when it comes to the First Alert forecast. So, that'll do it. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you tonight at 10 o'clock or after the baseball game on Fox 19 Now.